The notification pinged on Ethan Carter's phone at 2 a.m. Sharp and insistent, like a pebble hitting a still pond. He squinted at the screen, the blue light searing his tired eyes, and froze. New story posted in Riverside High fandom star-crossed rivals by Anonymous. His name was in the tags, paired with impossibly, infuriatingly Jasper Lee, his sworn rival since freshman year. Ethan's stomach churned as he opened the story. Riverside High wasn't just their school. It was a battleground where he and Jasper had clashed for years. Debate club showdowns, soccer field rivalries, even petty arguments over cafeteria seating. Yet here was a 10,000 word fanfic painting them as star-crossed lovers. Their every argument laced with longing. Their every glance a confession. The words were vivid, intimate, and so painfully accurate to Ethan's own buried feelings that he slammed his laptop shut. Heart pounding. Who could know him this well? And why pair him with Jasper? The next morning, Riverside High buzzed with whispers. Ethan, with his mop of dark curls and perpetually skeptical brown eyes, felt every stare as he walked through the crowded halls. The fanfic had spread like wildfire across the school's unofficial fandom forum, a niche corner where students wrote stories about their classmates, mostly as a joke. But this wasn't a joke. The stories details the way Ethan chewed his pen when nervous. The exact shade of Jasper's blue eyes in the sunlight were too precise, too personal. Someone had been watching them closely. Too closely. In English class, Ethan stole a glance at Jasper, who sat 2 rows over, his blonde hair catching the morning light. Jasper was the golden boy captain of the soccer team, effortlessly charming and infuriatingly perfect. Their rivalry had started over a stolen debate trophy in 9th grade and escalated into a cold war of glares and sharp words. But as Ethan watched Jasper scribble in his notebook, a flicker of doubt crept in. Could Jasper have written it? No, that was absurd. Jasper hated him. Didn't he? The day unraveled in a haze of paranoia. By lunch, Ethan's best friend, Mia Torres, was grinning wickedly as she slid into the seat across from him. So, lover boy, she teased, tossing her braided hair over her shoulder. Read any good fanfic lately? Ethan groaned, shoving his tray of fries away. It's not funny, Mia. Someone's messing with me. Or maybe, she said, eyes glinting, someone's confessing. She pulled out her phone, scrolling through the forum. This author knows you. Ethan. Like, knows you. The way you tug your sleeves when you're anxious. That's not public knowledge. Ethan's cheeks burned. He did tug his sleeves, a nervous habit he thought no one noticed. Except, apparently, Anonymous. After school, Ethan lingered by the soccer field, where Jasper was practicing. The autumn air was crisp, the sky streaked with orange, and Ethan's heart raced as he watched Jasper move fluid, confident, untouchable. The fanfic's words haunted him. Ethan's eyes linger on Jasper's silhouette, a traitor to his own heart. Had someone seen that in him? Had he been that obvious? He was about to leave when Jasper jogged over, sweat damp and frowning. Carter, Jasper said, voice low, we need to talk. Ethan braced himself, expecting a jab about the fanfic. Instead, Jasper's blue eyes were unsteady, almost vulnerable. You read that story, right? Ethan nodded, throat tight. Jasper ran a hand through his hair, a rare nervous tick. Meet me at the park tonight. 8 p.m. Don't tell anyone. Ethan should have said no. He should have laughed it off, called Jasper out for whatever game this was. But the memory of the fanfic's words Jasper's hand brushes Ethan's, and the world holds its breath kept him silent. He nodded, and Jasper walked away without another word. The park was a quiet haven in their small Ohio town, its paths lined with oaks and lit by flickering lanterns. Ethan arrived early, his breath visible in the chilly air, and sat on a bench near the pond. The stars above were sharp, like pinpricks in a velvet sky, and his mind raced with questions. Was Jasper behind the fanfic? Was this a trap to humiliate him? Or his heart stuttered, "Called it be real." Jasper appeared at 8:02, his jacket zipped tight, his expression unreadable. He sat beside Ethan, too close, their knees almost touching. "I didn't write it," Jasper said abruptly, staring at the pond. "But I know who did." Ethan's pulse spiked. "Who?" he demanded. Jasper's jaw tightened, and for a moment, he looked like he might bolt. Then he turned, his blue eyes locking onto Ethan's. "It was me," he whispered. "I didn't post it, but I wrote it." Ethan's world tilted. "You?" he choked out. Jasper nodded, his face pale. "I wrote it months ago, just for myself. I never meant for anyone to see it. My sister, Chloe, she found it on my laptop and posted it as a prank." Ethan stared, disbelief warring with the sudden, wild hope in his chest. The fanfic's tenderness, its aching detail, it was Jasper's heart laid bare. "Why?" Ethan asked, voice breaking. "Why write about us?" Jasper looked away, his hands clenched. "Because I've been in love with you for 2 years, Ethan. And I thought you hated me." The confession hung between them, fragile as glass. Ethan's mind reeled, replaying every argument, every stolen glance. The rivalry, the tension, it had all been a mask for something deeper, something neither had dared name. He reached out, his fingers brushing Jasper's, and the world did, indeed, hold its breath. The park bench creaked under Ethan's weight as he leaned back, trying to process Jasper's words. "In love with you." They echoed in his mind, each syllable a spark that threatened to set his carefully guarded heart ablaze. He stared at Jasper, whose face was half-shadowed in the lantern's glow, his blue eyes raw with something Ethan had never seen before, fear. "You're serious," Ethan said, more to himself than to Jasper. His voice was unsteady, caught between disbelief and a dangerous flicker of hope. "All this time, he stopped, the weight of 2 years of rivalry crashing down. Every barbed word, every challenge, now felt like a lie. Or worse, a truth neither had been brave enough to face." Jasper nodded, his gaze fixed on the pond's dark surface. "I didn't know how to tell you. I thought you'd laugh. Or worse, hate me more." He laughed, a bitter sound. "So I wrote it instead. Poured everything into those stupid pages. It was the only way I could make sense of it." Ethan's fingers still tingled where they'd brushed Jasper's. He wanted to reach out again, to anchor himself in this surreal moment. But his body felt frozen. "The story," he said slowly. "It wasn't just a fantasy. It was us. The way you described me, the things you noticed." He swallowed hard. "No one's ever seen me like that." Jasper's head snapped up, his eyes searching Ethan's face. "You read it all?" Ethan nodded, his cheeks warming as he recalled the fanfic's vivid scenes, stolen moments in the school library, imagined confessions under the bleachers, a kiss that never happened but felt so real it had left Ethan breathless. "I thought it was a cruel joke," Ethan admitted. "But it felt true. Too true." For a moment, neither spoke. The night air was heavy with the scent of damp leaves and the distant hum of crickets. Ethan's mind raced, piecing together fragments of their history. The time Jasper had lingered too long after a debate, his smile softer than usual. The way he'd once handed Ethan his water bottle during a soccer match. Their fingers grazing. Both of them looking away too quickly. Had it all meant something? Why didn't you say anything? Ethan asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Jasper's shoulders slumped. Because I'm a coward, he said. You were always so untouchable. Fierce. I thought you'd rather die than feel anything for me. He paused, then added, and I didn't want to ruin what we had, even if it was just fighting. Ethan's laugh was sharp, almost painful. Ruin it. Jasper, we've been tearing each other apart for years. But as he said it, he realized the truth. Their rivalry had been a strange, twisted comfort. It was safe, predictable. Whatever this was, felt like stepping off a cliff. Jasper turned to face him fully, his expression open, unguarded. I don't want to fight anymore, Ethan. I'm tired of pretending. His voice cracked, and Ethan's heart lurched. He'd never seen Jasper like this vulnerable, stripped of his golden boy armor. It was terrifying. It was beautiful. Before Ethan could respond, Jasper reached into his jacket and pulled out a crumpled notebook. This is where I wrote it, he said, holding it out. The original draft. Chloe only found a copy on my laptop. I've been carrying this around, trying to figure out how to tell you. Ethan took the notebook, its pages worn and soft from handling. He opened it, skimming the handwritten lines. Jasper's messy scrawl, describing moments Ethan thought only he remembered, moments that now felt like confessions. I don't know what to say, Ethan murmured, his fingers tracing the words. Jasper's hand hovered near his, then retreated. You don't have to say anything, Jasper said. I just needed you to know. But Ethan did want to say something. He wanted to say he'd spent nights replaying their arguments, wondering why Jasper's taunts lingered like a song he couldn't shake. He wanted to admit that the fanfic had stirred something in him, something he'd buried under layers of pride and fear. Instead, he said, "Come with me." Jasper blinked, startled. Where? Ethan stood, clutching the notebook. The library. I need to show you something. It was a risk, a leap into the unknown, but Ethan was done hiding. Jasper hesitated, then followed, their footsteps crunching on the gravel path. The Riverside High Library was empty after hours, its windows casting long shadows across the shelves. Ethan used his key perks of being debate club president and led Jasper to a corner table where he'd spent countless nights studying. He pulled out his own notebook, its pages filled with scribbled notes, and, tucked between them, a single page of his own writing. A story he'd never shared, not even with Mia. I wrote this last year, Ethan said, handing it to Jasper. It's not a fanfic. It's just me, trying to figure out why I cared so much about beating you. Jasper's eyes widened as he read, his fingers tightening on the paper. The story was short, raw fictional argument between two boys that ended not in victory, but in a quiet moment of understanding. It wasn't explicit, but it was Ethan's heart, spilled onto the page. Jasper looked up, his expression unreadable. You wrote about us too. Ethan nodded, his throat tight. I didn't know what it meant then. I do now. The silence between them was electric, charged with years of unspoken truths. Jasper stepped closer, his breath hitching. Ethan, he said, voice low, what are we doing? Ethan didn't have an answer, but he closed the distance between them, their faces inches apart. The library smelled of old books and possibility, and for the first time, Ethan wasn't afraid. The library's dim light caught the edge of Jasper's jaw, sharpening the angles of his face as he stood too close, too real. Ethan's heart pounded, a drumbeat urging him to move, to speak, to do something. But all he could do was stare into Jasper's eyes, where fear and hope waged a silent war. I don't know, Ethan whispered, answering Jasper's question. But I'm tired of pretending too. The admission felt like shedding a skin he'd worn too long, one woven from pride and denial. Jasper's lips parted, but no words came. Instead, he reached out, his fingers grazing Ethan's wrist, tentative, like he was afraid Ethan might vanish. The touch was a spark. Ethan's breath caught, and before he could overthink it, he leaned in, closing the gap. Their lips met soft, uncertain, then desperate, as if they'd been starving for this moment. The kiss was clumsy at first, all nerves and newness, but it deepened into something fierce, a collision of everything they'd held back. Jasper's hands found Ethan's face, his thumbs brushing Ethan's cheeks, and Ethan clung to Jasper's jacket, anchoring himself in the storm of his own emotions. When they pulled apart, gasping, the library felt smaller, the world reduced to the space between them. Jasper's forehead rested against Ethan's, his breath warm and uneven. I didn't think, he started, then stopped, laughing softly. I didn't think you'd ever feel the same. Ethan's chest ached with the weight of it all, the fanfic, the confession, the kiss. I didn't know I did, he said. Not until I read your words. He stepped back, needing air, needing clarity. The notebook Jasper slay on the table, its pages a testament to a truth they'd both circled for years. What happens now? Ethan asked, his voice raw. Jasper's smile was hesitant, almost shy. We figure it out. Together. The question hung in the air, fragile but hopeful. Ethan nodded, his own smile breaking through. Together. But the world outside the library wasn't as kind. By morning, the fanfic had exploded beyond the school forum, shared across group chats, and whispered in every hallway. Ethan felt the weight of every glance, every smirk. Mia cornered him at his locker, her eyes wide with excitement. Spill, she demanded. You and Jasper were seen leaving the park last night. What's going on? Ethan's face burned. He hadn't told her about the kiss, the confession, any of it. It's complicated, he said, dodging her gaze. Mia raised an eyebrow. Complicated like you're secretly in love with your enemy. Because that's what the whole school thinks now. She held up her phone, showing a screenshot of the fanfic's comments. Ethan and Jasper are totally endgame. This is too real to be fake. Ethan groaned, slamming his locker shut. It's not like that. But it was, wasn't it? He couldn't deny the truth anymore. Not after last night. Still, the scrutiny was suffocating. Riverside High wasn't exactly a bastion of acceptance. Small-town Ohio had its share of closed minds. And Ethan had heard enough slurs tossed around to know not everyone would cheer for their story. Jasper found him at lunch, his usual confidence dimmed by the same weight Ethan felt. People are talking, Jasper said, sitting across from him in the cafeteria's corner booth. My teammates won't shut up about it. Ethan noticed the tension in Jasper's shoulders, the way his fingers tapped nervously on the table. You okay? Ethan asked. Jasper's smile was strained. Not really. My dad, he saw the posts. He's not thrilled. Ethan's stomach dropped. Jasper's dad, a former military man, was known for his rigid views. Ethan had never met him, but the stories were enough. What did he say? Ethan asked, dreading the answer. He thinks it's a phase, Jasper said, his voice flat. Told me to fix it before it ruins my future. He looked at Ethan, his eyes pleading. I don't want to fix it, Ethan. I want this. I want us. The words hit Ethan like a wave. warm and overwhelming. He reached across the table, his hand covering Jasper's. "Then we'll figure it out," he said, echoing Jasper's words from the night before. But the pressure mounted. By afternoon, Ethan overheard whispers in the hall, some curious, some cruel. A group of Jasper's teammates cornered Ethan after school, their smirks cutting. "So, Carter," one said, "you and Lee a thing now?" That fanfic was wild. Ethan's fists clenched, but before he could respond, Jasper appeared, his voice sharp. "Back off, Kyle." The teammate shrugged, but the tension lingered. That night, Ethan sat in his room, the fanfic open on his laptop. He reread Jasper's words, each line a reminder of the courage it had taken to write them. He wanted to be that brave, to face the world with Jasper, but fear not at him. What if the town turned on them? What if their families did? His phone buzzed, a text from Jasper, "Meet me at the park again. Need you." Ethan didn't hesitate. He grabbed his jacket and ran, the night air cold against his skin. Jasper was waiting on the same bench, his face pale but determined. "I told my sister everything," Jasper said as Ethan sat beside him. "She's sorry for posting it, but she's also happy for me. For us." Ethan's heart lifted, but the weight of the day lingered. "What about your dad?" he asked. Jasper's jaw tightened. "He'll come around. Or he won't. But I'm not giving this up." He turned to Ethan, his eyes fierce. "I'm not giving you up." Ethan's breath hitched. He leaned in, kissing Jasper again, this time slower. Sure. The world could wait. For now, they had this. The weeks that followed were a tightrope walk. Ethan and Jasper navigated their new reality with cautious steps, stealing moments in quiet corners of the school, their hands brushing in the halls, their smiles a secret language. The fanfic had faded from the school's gossip mill, replaced by newer dramas, but its impact lingered. It had cracked open their world, exposing a truth neither could ignore. Ethan's parents were supportive, if a little bewildered. His mom, a librarian with a soft spot for romance novels, hugged him tightly when he told her about Jasper. "Love's messy," she said, "but it's worth it." His dad just nodded, awkward but kind. Jasper's family was harder. His dad's silence was a wall, his disapproval clear in every clipped word. Jasper's sister, Chloe, became their fiercest ally, sneaking them time together when their parents weren't looking. School was a mixed bag. Mia and a few friends formed a protective circle around them, but not everyone was kind. A teacher's pointed stare, a classmate's whispered slur, each was a reminder of the world they lived in. Yet Ethan found strength in Jasper's presence, in the way their shoulders touched during study sessions. In the notes Jasper slipped into his locker, each one a quiet echo of the fanfic's tenderness. One afternoon, during a debate club meeting, Ethan caught Jasper watching him from the back of the room. The topic was courage in the face of adversity, and Ethan's speech was fiery, fueled by everything he'd felt since that night in the park. When he finished, the room applauded, but Jasper's smile was all he saw. Later, Jasper pulled him aside. "You were incredible," he said, his voice low. "I'm proud of you." Ethan's chest tightened. "I'm proud of us," he replied. They were still learning what us meant, but every step felt like a victory. They joined the school's GSA, a small but fierce group that welcomed them with open arms. For the first time, Ethan felt like he belonged somewhere bigger than himself. The turning point came at the spring talent show. Jasper, usually reserved off the soccer field, signed up to perform. Ethan sat in the audience, nervous, as Jasper took the stage with a guitar. "This is for someone who changed everything," Jasper said, his voice steady. He played a song he'd written, its lyrics raw and unguarded, weaving a story of rivalry turned to love. The crowd was silent, then erupted in applause. Ethan's eyes burned with tears, his heart full. After the show, they stood outside under the stars, the same stars that had witnessed their first confession. You didn't have to do that, Ethan said, his voice thick. Jasper shrugged, his grin lopsided. I wanted the world to know I love you. Ethan laughed, pulling Jasper close. You're ridiculous, he said, but his kiss said, I love you too. The fanfic, once a source of fear, became their origin story. They printed it out, kept it in a box with their notebooks, a reminder of the words that had brought them together. Riverside High wasn't perfect, and neither was their town, but they carved out a space for themselves, built on courage and love. Years later, at their college graduation, Ethan and Jasper stood hand in hand, their families, Jasper's dad included, softened by time cheering from the crowd. The fanfic was a distant memory, but its truth endured. Love could be messy, unexpected, even born from rivalry, but it was always worth fighting for. As they tossed their caps into the air, Ethan looked at Jasper, his rival, his love, and knew they'd write their own story from here on out, one page at a time. Together.